All right, welcome back, everyone. And we got VJ and two back again. This time we're going to dig a little deeper. This is actually, I think, my favorite part of the day because everyone knows I'm an investor, right? I bought my first stock at 13, bought my first mutual fund when I was 17. So I'm probably more excited than two and VJ are. I want to dig in. So the title of this is, and I hope too, and VJ, you'll appreciate my topic. It's called Storage, Strategy, Staking, and Security. Now, we could spend an entire day just talking about investing in crypto. We all know that. We're going to try to do it in about 30 ish minutes or so. But what we want to do is try to cover those topics. And, so let's start with VJ, because I know you, I'm going to start with you. Um, how does you got a lot of people that are listening, VJ, today that are listening in live, and we just found out we got people calling in from Turkey. So let's say I'm somewhere in the middle of nowhere and I want to start investing. Where do I start, VJ? How do I like decide how, to start, and then how do I know the first coin to purchase? No pressure, VJ. No pressure.
Yeah. Okay. So before we start, I want to give some strategies that people can think about. But before we talk about strategy, we need to talk about the mindset, right? We need to talk about the story that people have and how do you look at it. The first thing that I would say is take a long-term view of this asset. And when we take a long-term view, we optimize for the long term, then a lot of the short-term noise goes away. And there is so much noise in the space, and it causes a lot of FOMO or fear of missing out. People think they've already missed the boat on Bitcoin. It's already at $30,000, $38,000 today, I probably missed the boat on Bitcoin. So when you take a long-term view, and that comes from education, right? That's come from knowing what this particular technology is capable of, and using the imagination to think through how would the world be in 10 years from now, right? So most people, we don't think about the future at all. We just take the present for granted and we look at the past. So the first thing that I would say is think about the future, take a long-term view, take a 10-year view on where you want to be. Where do you want to be personally? Where do you think the industry is going to be? And educate yourself around it. And when you educate yourself, a lot of this FOMO goes away, the fear goes away, the uncertainty goes away. People don't take the first step because they are worried and scared that they might make a mistake, they might lose their money, they might get hacked. So the cure for all of it is one, education, which is what you're doing right now. So congratulations for being here on taking your first step on your crypto journey, on educating yourself, right? So mindset and taking a long-term view, that alone would help avoid 80-90% of the mistakes that you would make in the space, because people are just thinking about, oh, I need to buy this NFT. It was $10 yesterday and today it's $500. And people just get caught up in the hype, and that will help you avoid so many mistakes. So that's number one. Now let's talk about the strategy. The strategy part is easy once we have a very strong mindset and a perception and a view about where we want to go. So I would recommend for anyone starting out to do something like a dollar cost averaging. And what dollar cost averaging means is that you are able to invest a same amount week over week, month over month, over a long period of time. How does it help? If the price of the asset goes up, guess what? We are happy, right? Because you've been buying $10 a week, or like $1 a week, or $100 a week, whatever it is that you set aside for being able to make this investment. And you've been doing it for a month, right? Like, so that value goes up, so we are happy. If the value goes down, guess what? We are able to buy twice as much as what we bought last week, so we are still happy. And that helps with the emotional side of things, because investing, a lot of times the only blocker is the being able to master our own emotions. And being able to do that, like dollar cost averaging is one of the best strategies for anyone getting started on how you go about entering the space.
Thank you, VJ. Two, I'm going to direct this question to you because you work for a firm. That's really what you all are all about is teaching people how to, and by the way, you can talk a little bit about Betterment, but that's really what your firm is about, teaching people not only how to invest, but also how to do an allocation. So one of the questions I get a lot from my friends is how much of my money do I need to allocate into crypto? I've talked to a lot of young people who are in their 20s and they're moving all of their stocks, all of their ETFs. They're like, "Oh, Bill, you're an old man. Stocks are for old people." I'm moving into crypto. Stocks are for suckers. So, what would you say or what would you say to? How would you answer that? How would you look at what crypto, because it really is a brand new emerging asset class, as VJ mentioned earlier. What are your thoughts on that?
Sure, this is an excellent question, and not many people can have like a perfect answer for it. And I don't want to position myself that I'm going to have like one golden fixed answer for now and forever. But what I can say is, um, I think the rhetoric is that stocks is a long tested, established asset class, and it has been around since our grandparents' generation, and it's still being around, and it's going up over time in the long term, and therefore we should. If anything, we should invest in stocks more than this newly emerged asset class called digital digital currency. And I can't refute that, right? Because I think that the still the most classic safe way to invest is to go the majority of your investment fund into stocks. And the same way with both retail and institutional investors, they still think that digital currency, cryptocurrency is still a nice to have kind of categories, meaning that after you allocated enough funds to stocks, to commodities like gold, minerals, rare minerals, then whatever funds you have left, then you will allocate it to this newly emerged asset class called cryptocurrency, just to capture the upswing of the prices for crypto. But if you don't invest in it, that's okay too. Um, but however, I think that I would prefer a more aggressive approach than that. I think that investing in cryptocurrency, not by a whole lot, depending on your risk appetite. Meaning that if you are very risk on, if you want to take risk, if you think that you can lose the amount that you want to put in cryptocurrency, meaning that if your life is not so adversely worse off, if you lose the amount that you put in the cryptocurrency investment, feel free to increase your allocation to cryptocurrency. But if you are almost like a reserve, want to be safe side investor, then you should limit the percentage of allocation you put in cryptocurrency. If any of the young investors out there that want to be on the quantitative framework side of things, then I encourage them to check out a concept called Black Litterment concept. It is basically the portfolio allocation models that work on top of the modern portfolio theory, that put a little bit of the investor views on expected return onto it, meaning that and I can just basically pulled out some of the numbers that I worked with recently. Is that if I think on average cryptocurrency can outperform general stocks portfolio by 8%, then I could allocate 4% into cryptocurrency. If I think that by on average crypto can outperform by 10%, then the global stocks, then I would allocate 5% of my funds into cryptocurrency. So how you construct a Black Litterman model can, be discussed in a much longer conversation, but that is generally the idea of how you can think of the percentage of allocation, fund allocation to cryptocurrency quantitatively. But all that to say, you should only make a cryptocurrency the amount of fund that you're willing to lose, that you're going to be okay if you lose it. Only invest the amount that you can lose, but do your
So,
own research before you invest.
VJ, I know you're chomping at the bit on this one. I want to propose something because I work with youth. When I started the Wall Street Wizards program, here's something you all should know. Usually in the very first class, the very first thing I do is I pull out a compound interest chart. That's the first thing I do. And usually I have the students and their parents in the room. And I think you all know where I'm going with this. I show if you're 13 years old and you start investing and you do it on a consistent basis, by the time you're 30 or 50 or definitely in your 60s, you're a millionaire a couple of times over if you invest a certain amount of money consistently based upon the history of the stock market. That's all. So two things usually happen in that class. That's when the adults start crying because then they realize like, oh my God, I'm going to be broke. So then they're looking at their kid and they're saying, hey, you're getting in this program because you're going to be my retirement. So I want to say to Tu and VJ, help us out here. We got a lot of young kids, and I'm encouraging them to start investing by opening up brokerage accounts and now cryptocurrency wallets. VJ, to give them a suggestion on where they would start, and maybe let's have a little fun. And I'm going to give a disclaimer here. The Wall Street Wizards program is not a financial advisor. So go and get your financial advice from someone else, not us. We're just giving education here today. So, Tu, VJ, give me some thoughts. Like let's say I'm 18 years old. I just got some money. I want to start investing. Help me figure out maybe how much of it should go in crypto and maybe how much should go in stocks or ETFs. And the beauty of this is I think everyone in the audience, we're going to probably get two different answers. So I love to hear what you guys' thoughts are on that.
VJ, would you like me to go first or you would like to go first?
Sure, Tu, why don't you take it first?
Sure. So this is hard, but this is a very fun question. And you know, I told Bill and I told a lot of my friends too, is that people tend to be very caught up in choosing what cryptocurrency to buy. But I told them, you know, I think you should focus on the tracks and not the train, because as long as you're on the right track, it doesn't matter what train you're on, you're going to go to the destination. Meaning that it doesn't matter what cryptocurrency you invest in. I think if you choose the right tokens that relate into the right trend, you're going to be okay. So, you know, everyone here probably know that in January and probably now, cryptocurrency market has been pretty much on the bearish side, has been selling off a lot. But if you look at the floor prices of major NFTs collections, it has been going up. Floor price is the cheapest price of a piece in an NFT collection. So the minimum that you have to have in order to get in to own a piece in that collection. And the floor price have been going up, meaning that NFTs and metaverse sectors have been persistently performing quite well, even though we are facing a sell-off, both in the cryptocurrency market and in the traditional stock market. So all that to say that if you think, and if you're bullish on the right trend, and personally, I'm bullish on the NFT metaverse trend. If you invest in the metaverse and NFT related tokens, for me personally, I invest in Decentraland token, Mana, and the Sandbox token, SAND, SAND. Then overall, you're going to be okay. And the second thing that I would also recommend is most of the smart contract platform is built on top of Ethereum blockchain. And Ethereum and Wrap Ethereum are still one of the two most popular ways to purchase an NFTs and to purchase virtual real estates. So therefore, you're not going to go wrong if you go with ETH or Wrap ETH, because those are the two most popular ways most popular form of payments and most popular form of investment. So invest in ETH, Wrap ETH, and invest in metaverse linked tokens is the way for me to go right now. But VJ, happy to hear your thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So first of all, whatever, in addition to what Bill said, whatever we say is not personal financial advice. So having said that, complexity is the enemy of execution, right? So we want to make things really simple. Already the cryptocurrency space is so complex and want to have a very simple, easy way to be able to get started in the space. So We talked about dollar cost averaging, right? Like, just go to any of the platforms, things like Coinbase or Binance. There are many such exchanges that are available right now, and do dollar cost averaging. So that's the first one. When you're doing dollar cost averaging, maybe you start off with tokens like, just to begin with, Bitcoin and Ethereum, because they are the two most well-established ones. They're the top two coins, and they are most likely going to survive for the next 10 years or so. And so you want to just make it really simple. You can come up with different percentage allocation. I'm going to put 27% into this, and then 73% into this. All of that can be done later, but for you to begin with, maybe just do 50% Ethereum, 50% Bitcoin to get started with. All right. And then get your own wallet. That is very important. You can buy a hardware wallet, things like Ledger Nano X. Ledger Nano X cost about $50 or so. And it's very important for you to own these assets, and you go and buy the asset, do it on a recurring basis. Once you buy it, transfer it over to your hardware wallet, and then keep the hardware wallet very, very safe. Like, treat it like cash, put it in a safe deposit box or someplace at home, and use it as a way of being able to generate long-term wealth. And then once you start getting into the space, once you understand it, then you can go explore beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? Like, now you can explore things like what Tu was talking about with Metaverse and Decentraland and Sandbox. They are two of the platforms. There are so many other opportunities. Remember, it's going to touch every single industry. Go and learn about an industry that you are excited about. Maybe it's the music industry, right? Maybe it's the movies industry. Maybe it's the gaming industry. Whatever you are passionate about, that is going to get impacted by blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies. So learn about them, and then you invest in where your passion is. And that's how I would go about doing it if I am 18 and I have some money right now to invest.
So I'm gonna just tell you guys, the questions are flowing in. I mean, VJ, too, we might have to do a separate session just to talk about investing. So I'm just letting you know I might be tapping you guys in a few months to do this, because I'm looking at some of these questions and they're amazing. So I'm going to encourage the audience to start sending in more questions because they're flying in. So here's one, and this is from Tangi. And I think Tangi is from DC. It says, can you elaborate a little more on the future of inflation, and how would you purchase investments utilizing crypto to help you offset that inflation? I know, too, you talked a little bit about that earlier, so maybe I'll direct that one to you.
Sure. So at first, let me just quickly overview of why we are facing the current environment of high inflation. As you know that during the pandemic, the government sending out a lot of fiscal help by sending each of the individual with a certain income bracket several free paychecks to help with their day-to-day expenditures. On top of that, we have the Federal Reserve, which is our central bank, also implement a bunch of monetary policies that considered to be very, very accommodative. They lowered the interest rate to zero low bound, meaning from 0 to 0.25%. And then they also implement a bunch of lending vehicles for small businesses out there. All that to say that those actions lead to an ample liquidity environment in the economy, meaning that there's so much cash flying around. It's very easy to borrow. It's very easy for banks to borrow from the central banks, and it is for us to borrow from the banks. So everyone has money. Everyone has a lot of money on hand. So that is a classic case that leads to high inflation. And on top of that, we also have the supply chain issues. Because of the pandemic, not many workers working on the chain, and now we have very few goods on the shelves. So we have a lot of cash chasing very few goods. It's a classic case for high inflation. So all that to say, now that we're facing with inflation, we need to protect our purchasing powers, meaning that if you just hold $1 right now, you're losing about like 7 or 10% by the end of the year, because that's the current level of inflation. So you need to have an asset that at least grow faster or grow more than that level by the end of the year. And I think that cryptocurrency is one way of doing it, but not all cryptocurrency, right? And so that's why I want to emphasize on the idea you need to research your token very well. You need to do the due diligence. So only the tokens with limited supply, with burning mechanism, and feel free to let me know if I need to explain on those terms, can be potentially act as the inflation hedge vehicles for you, right? Because if you want to invest in a cryptocurrency that have limitless supply, then that currency itself has the potential of inflation in the future. So you want to deal with fixed supply cryptocurrency with the performance that potentially increase faster than the current inflation in order to hedge back the amount of purchasing power that you're losing every year. And Bitcoin is a classic way that you can invest in that to hedge the inflation, because Bitcoin value is expected to rise faster than inflation itself year over year.
So I'm gonna tell you these questions. Some of these are some really good questions that are coming in. So here's another one. And by the way, to the audience, please put in the city or country where you're calling in from. I'd love to know where we're getting the questions from. So here's a good one. How does one evaluate the various cryptocurrencies that they want to invest in? How do you do the research?
I can take this one if VJ, if you wanna go as well.
Go ahead, too.
Sure. So for me, I think of each of the cryptocurrency, I apply the same framework as applied to traditional asset, traditional equity. So when I look at the cryptocurrency, I want, number one, you need to look at the development purpose of a cryptocurrency. For example, Dogecoin was created originally as a joke. Well, maybe that development purpose doesn't really emit a very good potential as an investment vehicle. However, Polygon was created to scale Ethereum blockchain. So maybe Polygon emits a way much more rigorous and potential for future development than Dogecoin, because Polygon was actually created with innovation in mind. The second thing I would look at is the development maturity of a token. For example, Bitcoin, 90% of the supply of Bitcoin has already been mined, has already been in circulation. It indicates that Bitcoin has reached a certain phase of maturity of the development of the token. Meanwhile, let's say Token Mac, right? It was just created, it was just launched half a year ago. It was still very early in the day for development. So maybe you would like to steer your attention into a more established, more mature coins. The other aspect that I encourage you to also do your due diligence on is the vulnerability and the resiliency of a token, meaning how many scams, hacks, how many security breaches a platform has had over the past 1 or 2 years. If a platform has not had major hacks over the last 2 years, maybe that platform is a good option for you to invest in terms of security and resiliency to attacks. If a token or a platform or protocol that has been hacked multiple times over a year, well, maybe you should double think about whether you want to invest in it. So those are several tokens token criteria that I usually look at when I select what coins that is most suitable for my investment. And I encourage you to do your research, do your due diligence before you invest in each of the token as well.
VJ, I'd love to hear your thoughts, if you could.
So we have a way of being able to evaluate. We look at 8 different signals, and we probably won't have time to go over all the 8 signals. But I'm going to give you 3 examples, 3 signals that I think would serve as a very good proxy for being able to evaluate the asset, right? So Tu talked about looking at the purpose of the particular blockchain. And we call that as thesis. What is the thesis behind this particular blockchain, right? Read through the white paper. any project that you're investing in, they have white paper available, read through it, and understand the fundamental business case for why do we need such a new technology or a new application. So that is the thesis. The second one is token economics, which is very, very crucial. We talked about token economics before and how blockchain and token economics combined together create cryptocurrencies. And token economics, especially if you are considering a career in, this will be a field of the future. It's a fascinating combination of finance, economics, and psychology. So if you are interested in any three of those areas, whether it's finance, economics, or psychology, look into token economics as a potential career opportunity, career path, because token economics is the way that as human beings, we can get closest to having almost godlike power to make massive societal change, right? So it's the power that you would imagine CEOs of large companies or presidents of countries would have. But now, if we understand token economics, you and I have the power to be able to make massive societal change on a global level. So if you are interested in creating an impact in the world, then definitely look at studying token economics. And it is going to be a field of the future that is going to continue to evolve. And we are just now scratching the surface. And it's a field that I highly encourage you to look at as something that you want to get your bachelor's or master's in. And there are no universities that are offering it right now, but we're going to start seeing more and more of these degree programs offered in the near future. And the last one that I want to talk about is traction. Any project can succeed if there is enough traction around it, as evidenced by Shibu Inu, right? If there is a community of people around it, and a project might have lousy technology, but if you have a passionate community around it, then that project is going to succeed, right? Another project can have great technology, but if they're not able to capture the imagination of the community, it's not going to be as successful. So take a look at those three things, right? The thesis in terms of the business case for the particular project, read through the white paper, look at token economics and understand token economics. And lastly, the traction or the community around the particular project.
You know, there's so much information out now on where we can go to do research. So I'd love for you all to each give us maybe your top, maybe 3 or 4 websites where you go to get research on your tokens.
So this space is evolving quickly, and there is not a centralized way for being able to get information. But there are websites like CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko that gives you the information about the project. You can go and look at their website. But more importantly, these are community-driven projects, right? You can go and join their Discord channel or join their Telegram channel and be able to interact with the founders of the project. You can interact with other community members. So a lot of the activity happens in these various Telegram channels, Discord channels. And I would encourage you to go join one of the channels, right? Earlier, we talked about governance. A lot of these projects are governed by the people. You know, and it's called DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. You can go participate in one of the DAOs, make a proposal, vote on it. So there are multiple ways for you to participate. But I would start with something like CoinMarketCap, and then go through, find the website link and then the link for the Telegram or Discord channel and participate in conversations. That's the best way that you will be able to learn.
So I'm going to just reach out to the people in the audience now. You've heard some names come up. We've only done 3 sessions. You've heard DAO come up. You've heard the name Discord come up. And we're actually going to have a session on DAO. So I'm going to encourage everyone to come back in a few hours to listen. We're going to actually break down what DAOs are. But I also want you all to pay attention to some of the names that we're mentioning. Discord channel. VJ, is there a charge for me to join a Discord channel?
No, Bill, there is no charge. Anyone is free to join. And
It's
most
free?
people, yeah, it's free. Most people who are in the gaming community, you guys already know Discord, right? You're already on multiple channels, and this is another channel, and it's a way in which you can like talk to people, and it's free for anyone to join. And there are also a bunch of groups on Telegram that you can also join, and they're all free to join.
The reason I brought that up is I know that a lot of the younger generation know about Discord, but a lot of the OGs like me that have gray hair, it took us a little longer to figure out what Discord was. So, and I actually have to thank VJ for that. VJ was one of the first people that got on me about investing in crypto. Two, anything you want to add? Any sites that you like? Any other forms of communication that you like?
Sure. So I know that most of the young people, when they first start out, they usually go on to the most popular centralized exchange like Coinbase, Kraken, to start out, which is not a bad idea. On those websites, they also have learning materials like what is Bitcoin, what is blockchain. It's not a bad idea to actually have a quick read through on each of those materials just to know more about the products and know more about the centralized exchange itself. One of the more data centric website that I encourage people to also look at is Messari. So it's
Mm-hmm.
MESSARI.io, which is a very popular site for people to know about, data, to know about the pricing. They also have an amazing research section on there. It is a very popular website for quantitative research on the crypto investment as well. So encourage people to actually check it out when they already exhaust their their options on learning materials. Feel free to check this site out as well.
I got to tell you guys, the questions are flowing in. We don't even have enough time to get through all of these questions. So, but I'm gonna. This is gonna be our last question. Uh, this is Linda Ing, and Linda says this is a great session. I would love to learn. I would love to learn more about token economics. Here's the question: do you think someday in the future, perhaps, that money will become obsolete?
Which
You know I had to
is
throw. You knew I had to
tokenomics.
throw a curveball at you. I'm not going. This is the last session, so I had to have some fun with this one.
Yeah. So my personal opinion, I don't think money will ever become obsolete. The way in which we think about money can become obsolete, right? Right now we think of money as something, some dead famous people printed on a piece of paper, and that is going to become obsolete. However, the fundamental concept of money, I don't think that is going to become obsolete, or whatever it replaces, right? That will become money. And it's difficult to grasp this concept of money because we don't have money doesn't exist in nature, right? Like now there is no money that exists in nature, and money is a made up concept by human beings. And once we have made up the concept of human beings, it provides a great way in which it allows us to transfer value over location and over time, right? That's the only value of money, is we want to transfer value from one location to another. If you're an apple farmer, you don't want to be carrying 4 or 5 bags of apple on your shoulder for you to be able to go to the nearest store to buy shoes, right? So you need money to be able to make it easy to transfer, to go from one location to the other. Or you need to transfer it across time, where in which you save some money right now for you to be able to buy something in the future. So that is the purpose of money. And since this is a made up concept, this particular technology of money, once human beings have invented it, I don't think it's going to go away from human civilization. However, the technology of what we think of as money, like at one point in time, we used seashells as money, right? At one point in time, we used other substitutes for money, and that is going to continue to evolve. We have gone from from using stones to seashells to using gold to cryptocurrency and whatever the next evolution is going to be. But the concept of money itself is here to stay.
Tu, we've got about 3 minutes. I'd love to get your thoughts if you have any.
Sure. Um, I wholeheartedly agree with VJ in the sense that money has become a lot more frictionless over time, meaning that we do not have to worry about carrying a wallet anymore. I use my Apple Pay to pay for anything. I don't have paper money with me, and I kind of forgot about the idea of like sending money back to my home country, and it take days because now I can just like here wallet to wallet instantly. So it's a lot more frictionless now. I do think that there's one thing that we have to monitor is how central governments around the world going to react to the adoption of cryptocurrency in general, because I do think that the potential of a wider scale adoption of cryptocurrency relies somewhat on the impression and the direction that the governments in the world going to have for cryptocurrency. If they are all supportive of cryptocurrency adoption, great. We're going to have a way more globalized form of payments now. However, if we going to have some friction, especially as you see with China, as you see with Turkey, we're going to have a little bit of a setbacks on a global adoption of this cryptocurrency, and that's something that we should monitor, and we should also hedge it in our investment risk as well.
So, so with that, I'm gonna say thank you to, thank you, VJ. This was amazing. I'm looking at all these questions. I just couldn't get to them all. I think that, but these are some amazing questions. So, I'm gonna probably tap on both of you all to come back maybe at some point in the future where we might do a session where we dig in a little bit deeper. But up next, we have my friend and homie, uh, Lauren Sanders from Detroit. And as I said to you all before, don't believe anything she tells you about me as a kid when I was growing up. And by the way, you all see Lauren has props. So the next topic that's coming up is demystifying DeFi. So Lauren might have a smoke machine or something like that. She might have a genie pop out of a bottle. I don't know what's going on, but I just wanted to say again, too, and VJ, you guys were amazing. I'm looking at the questions. We got great feedback. So with that, I want to just say thank you all. We're going to take a small break. And up next, Lauren Sanders, demystifying DeFi.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
It's game time.
Name a woman.
Mary.
Name an animal.
Horse.
Name a plant.
Flower.
Name a reindeer. Name a movie.
Star Wars.
What's your name?
Dave.
Name a drink.
Pepsi.
Name a candy.
Snickers.
Name a band.
Led Zeppelin.
Name a gem.
Ruby.
Name a holiday.
Christmas.
Name a smell.
Fart.
Name a veggie.
Broccoli.
Done! Name a woman.
Michelle
Name an
Obama.
animal.
Tiger.
Name a plant.
Sunflower.
Name a reindeer.
Rudolph.
Name a movie. What's your
Black
name?
Knight. Yaneli.
Name a drink.
Mojito.
Name a candy.
Airheads.
Name a band.
Paramore.
Name a gem. Name a
Jade.
holiday. Name
Christmas.
a smell.
Stinky.
Name a veggie.
Broccoli.
Done! Name a woman.
Me,
Name an
Harley.
animal.
Dog.
Name a plant.
Ficus.
Name a reindeer.
Uh,
Name a movie.
Vixen.
What's your name?
Marley.
Name a drink.
What's
Name a candy.
that?
Name a band.
Sour Patch Kids.
Name a gem.
Fall Out Boy.
Name a
Diamond.
holiday.
Christmas.
Name a smell.
Stanky.
Name a veggie.
Asparagus.
Done!
Ah.